Hello, everyone. I am Murat Karademir, co-founder of Chainwell Labs, and we are building Bitcoin's first ZK rollup, Citrea. This is my first week in India, and I really enjoy it. And our name, Citrea, comes from the citrus. It's a Latin word, citrus family, like a citrus fruit. So it is originally from here, like a South India, Southeast Asia. So it's a coincidence that we are here. So I was involved with Bitcoin back in 2013, but not interested much back in those days. And then I was on the trenches. I followed block size wars. I followed ICO, Ethereum ICO, and all the things happened. But I was more interested in the academy. I started two hacker spaces based in Istanbul, Turkey. It's like IIT. I heard it's like a top technical university in India. So we were connected with the top universities and helping students there. Thanks to it, I got to know with the top engineers in Turkey. So, quick story of our company. I got bored on the trenches and wanted to build something cool. I got three of my co-founders. They are super good engineers, giga brains. So we worked on privacy and ZK. We are the ones that built the proof of innocence protocol. Later, it's called privacy pools. And then ordinals happened beginning of last year. And then we said, okay, it's a cool idea. The arbitrary data on Bitcoin, and you can read it. So we got interested. We built an ordinals wallet and then several API tools around it. And then we say, okay, it's cool to publish JPEGs on Bitcoin. What else we can do makes more sense and more usable? And then Citrea idea was born. Thanks to our ZK experience and Bitcoin script, we combined those two, and we've been working on Citrea for over 1.5 years. We are on testnet and close to the mainnet. I'll stop here and pass it to the next speaker.
Awesome, thanks. Hi, folks. My name is Madhavan. I'm the co-founder of Reclaim Protocol. Quick overview of Reclaim Protocol for those of you who don't know. It's a way to generate ZK proofs of some data that you see on a web browser. So you can log in into your bank account, generate a ZK proof of your bank balance, or you can log in into, let's say, Amazon and generate a ZK proof of stuff that you ordered on Amazon, and then share that with other companies, other apps, on-chain, wherever you will. I'm sure we'll get into the specifics in just a bit, but that's essentially what we do. And the other question was something interesting about me. Reclaim Protocol was born in Bangalore, so I'm very, very excited to be here, back talking to the community here where it all started. So yeah, very, very excited to be here, and over to Yanis, I guess.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Super happy to be here for this exciting week. I'm Yanis. I'm contributing to a project called Anon-Aadhaar, which is a ZK protocol that lets any Aadhaar owner to prove that they are the owner of a legitimate Aadhaar using ZK applying to signature verification. It's a project that is like in a more bigger family that we call sometimes data provenance. I think now Vitalik coined them like ZK wrappers. Yes, and happy to speak about ZK and privacy for the next 30 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. So I'll be asking each and every one of you a single question about your specific topics and which I want to learn so that they can also understand about it. So after that, we can just move ahead with the impromptu question. So first question to you. So before starting, as he is working on the Bitcoin side. So the question for me at least is that Bitcoin initially we started with Ethereum and other like layer 2s and stuff was because of scaling issues, because of more adoption and coding on the blockchain as a technology. So when we talk about Ethereum, you are using ZK rollups, which is even slower right now on the Ethereum side as compared to OP stacks. So what do you think, like first you're using Bitcoin, then you are using ZK. So don't you think it will reduce the power? You will have a liquidity, but it will reduce the power and the speed of the chain?
Yes. So ZK is mainly used for privacy or scalability. Yes, it's not cheap to prove things, but ZK makes it easier and scalable everything. So I feel like what transformers did for LLM world, like GPTs, BARTs, ZK will do similar catalysm for blockchains in the future. I'm bullish. I'm very bullish on ZK part. So Bitcoin is very limited in terms of block space. It's only 4 megabyte, and the block time is 10 minutes in average. So it is really hard to build any programmability on top of Bitcoin. But since, I don't know if you follow the development on Bitcoin Core and the broader Bitcoin community, so there are two things happened in the recent years. One is called ordinals, so that you can push arbitrary data into Bitcoin and you can read it. This is like one of the basics that we utilize on Citrea. And second is called BitVM. BitVM is a new paradigm that you can do verification, optimistic verification on Bitcoin layer 1. So like Ethereum can do on verification on layer 1, but Bitcoin doesn't do it. So these are two fundamentals that hack around that to challenge and bring more innovators to the Bitcoin space. I can say this, like if you have further question, I can follow up.
Okay. Again, like the question comes about the liquidity. So when initially we started looking at all the Bitcoin L2s which were coming, so the major problem for them was all these assets which have to be moved from Bitcoin to
Yes.
other L2s was in either in wrap version.
Yes.
Even on Manta right now, it's in a
Yes.
wrap version. So do you think like with help of your chain, maybe in future without OFTs or maybe without the wrap version, we can have a native BTC on other chains as well?
Beautiful. Then we should look at the current landscape on Bitcoin. And like you mentioned, Wrap Bitcoin, but a lot of the side chains, Wrap Bitcoin, all these tools are come down to multisig or federation, which is not the way that we should work or things should work on crypto. It's like you don't trust and verify. In our design, you don't trust us, you don't trust third party, you trust cryptography and software. This is how I think it should be look like. Yes, right now, like a Wrap Bitcoin has like a 9 billion TVL, but our version of Bitcoin, like we call it CBTC, I think we will have it's like a challenge to the current status quo, and we will bring more innovators to back to the mother chain Bitcoin, so that we will have a thriving ecosystem later on.
So just like last question on this side. So like CBTC, you mentioned about that. So recently we have seen trends. Instead of using a normal stable coin, we are getting native yield backing stable coins.
Yes.
So which are backed by like money market instruments and stuff. So
Yes.
do you think like CBTC will have something, or maybe any BTC form will have a native yield on them as well?
Yes, I think so. Like if you think right now, all the Bitcoin ETFs and institutional interest toward Bitcoin, so what is the number one priority they look after is security. So this is the same applies for a lot of people who hold Bitcoin. So you have to give that security guarantee so that there will be more liquidity and institutional and like people who hold a lot of Bitcoins, they want those. So CBTC here is a new player that have better trust assumptions than current state. So I believe that will attract broader liquidity from different parties. And thanks to that EVM compatibility that Citrea has, we will onboard more developers from already established ecosystems. So, so far in the Bitcoin space, there was a lack of that the builder culture. But once that we hit the tipping point, it will accelerate from there. For example, based on Galaxy's latest report, which was about Bitcoin L2s and the possible the reach for that. Right now, the only 8 basis point of BTC on Bitcoin L2s and DeFi. But once that we establish that ecosystem, by the 2030, it may reach out to 2.4% of the whole Bitcoin supply, which is the current price. It is like over $45 billion.
That's great. Okay, now coming to Madhavan. So, like Madhavan is one of my dear friend. Like I know him since last year. He was the one who helped me to get my US visa as well. So, Madhavan, coming to your protocol Reclaim. So I heard like so basically recently we have seen that AI is into boom. Like it can be meme AI or it can be like virtuals as well. So Madhavan, like on the real utility side, so I heard you guys launch ZKTLS. Do you think like AI and ZKTLS can work together? If yes, how? For a user, not for the developers, please.
For sure, for sure. Maybe, I don't know how many people who are here know really what we do. I'll take a couple minutes to just explain what we do because I'll set up the context for where AI matters. Okay, I'll give an example, right? So we all use Swiggy, and Swiggy has this premium subscription called Swiggy One. And they want to run a marketing campaign, right? And the marketing campaign is they want to give a 50% off on the Swiggy One subscription if you are a high LTV user for them. So what is a high LTV user? Somebody who would make these purchases on Swiggy again and again. So how do you prove that you are potentially somebody who would make these purchases again and again on Swiggy? So the heuristics that they've come up with is, hey, if you have a Netflix account or if you have an Amazon Prime account or you purchase a lot on Flipkart and stuff like this, you're probably somebody who will buy a lot on Swiggy as well. And they're willing to spend the money to acquire that customer and convert them into a premium subscriber. Okay, so this is what they want to do. So they want to know whether the user has a Netflix subscription. They want to know whether Amazon Prime, they have an Amazon Prime account and like multiple other sources. Okay, great. Now coming back to your question is, now how is AI helpful in all of this? So whenever you want to generate a proof that you have a Netflix account or you have an Amazon Prime account, you need to generate a ZK proof for it. So you need to log in into Amazon Prime and generate a ZK proof that you actually have an Amazon Prime account. And one of the things that is very, very important is what are you trying to prove, right? Are you trying to prove that you logged in into Amazon.com and you have a subscription over there, or did you log in into some other website? So that is very, very important for the integrity of the proof that we are generating. Like if you do not know that we are trying to extract, let's say, the membership number from your Amazon Prime account, the ZK proof that we are generating is actually pretty worthless, right? So we call these schemas. So you need to define a schema for each kind of proof that you're generating. If you want to generate a proof from Netflix, it would have one schema. If you are generating a proof from Amazon Prime, it would have one schema, and so on. And the business that we are in, we need to support a huge number of such schemas. Like different customers who come to us want to generate proofs for different things across various websites. And there is no way that we can predict beforehand as to what are the things that people will want to prove about themselves in the future. And that is where AI comes in. So you can right now use Reclaim Protocol along with an AI, and the AI will generate the schema of what you're trying to prove in real time on the application while you're trying to prove it. So if you're trying to prove that you have a Netflix account, the AI will generate the schema on the fly if it does not already exist, so that the user can generate a proof that they have a Netflix account, they have an Amazon Prime account, without us having to predict beforehand as to what the user is going to try to prove. And that is where we really use AI. It's almost unknown to the user that under the hood we are using AI for a lot of this shit. But I think that's something that we are actually proud of. Like, if you use our products, you won't come to know that we are using AI under the hood, or even the fact that we are using a blockchain under the hood. So that's, yeah, broadly speaking, how do we enable a large number of ZK proofs to be generated without having to predict beforehand what the user would want to generate a proof for, is where AI has come in really, really handy for us.
So just a simple question. You mentioned about Netflix. Say suppose I have a Netflix account, you have integrated and you have been like working with Netflix for that. But if suppose I want to prove Amazon Prime account, which you are not working right now with, if I add a prompt on the AI side, so how can he get the data with the Amazon Prime team?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. However, I have a small correction. The correction is we do not work with Netflix. And we do not need to work with Netflix. We do not need to work with Amazon Prime to be able to generate these proofs of the fact that you have an Amazon Prime account or a Netflix account. As long as you're able to open Netflix on your web browser, you're able to log in. The moment you log in, we'll generate a ZK proof using the TLS connection that is established by the web browser itself. So I think that's the beauty of Reclaim Protocol is you can generate these proofs of data from any of these websites without needing a change from the website itself. For example, we also generate proofs from stuff like ICICI, SBI, HDFC, all these banks. And of course, those banks are, we are too small for them to like make any change based on our requests. So yeah, that's actually a very important pillar of what we do is there is already an existing infrastructure called TLS, HTTPS, whatever. And how can we leverage the same cryptographic techniques that are being used today in production without having to make any changes and use those to generate ZK proofs? I think Anon Aadhaar is also in that category in which there's already something that is of cryptographic nature on your Aadhaar card. How can you use those to generate ZK proofs? I think that is very, very important. Like if you're going to wait for Netflix to adopt our technology, Amazon Prime to adopt our technology, we'll just run out of money before any of that happens.
Got it. Oh, okay. So one last thing. So to generate a proof and post it on a blockchain, it's very expensive. So for a Web2 user who is sitting maybe here or maybe who is just going to try it, so do they have to pay the fees and stuff?
Yes and no. So right now, to be really honest, even though we are in India Blockchain Week, I would have to confess that most of our customers are Web2 enterprises. So you can generate this proof and submit it to another website. So you're generating a proof from Netflix and submitting it to, let's say, Swiggy. Now, in this interaction, that's for the user, there's no blockchain involved, right? So they do not have to generate this fees. Pay this fees. However, if you're going to submit this proof on chain, you will have to pay the transaction fees depending on the application that you're using. Or maybe if the application has a paymaster or something like that, hopefully you don't have to pay the fees. But the honest answer is if you're using these proofs on chain, you have to pay for it. Whether you pay for it or a paymaster pays for it, that's kind of at the application layer. So yeah, we think of ourselves as a crypto company from the perspective that we use cryptographic techniques, not so much that we have a token or we have a blockchain. So that's a slightly different definition of the word crypto, I guess, in our context.
Thank you. Thank you. Now coming to Yanis, so first of all, like he's from Ethereum Foundation. I think so every Web3 guy who enters in like crypto has a dream to contribute to Ethereum Foundation. Congrats on that side. Second, he is also working on Aadhaar side, right? So I want to know about some information, like continue to this question. So it's about like on-chain data. When we post the on-chain data, if that is a ZK proof, it's cool. But if it's not a ZK proof, how encrypted it is? What about the privacy? What about the signing data on-chain? So how are you solving this? Because we know how Indian government works and everything goes on.
Yes, thanks. I can do like a parallel because so actually like in cryptography you have like what we call symmetric cryptography and what we call asymmetric cryptography. So for example in the case of TLS it's symmetric cryptography, meaning that both of us we need to have to share the same key to decrypt or check some authentication of the data, which makes the mission of building on TLS way more harder, and that's why we need like teams like such as Reclaim. In the case of Aadhaar, it's using asymmetric cryptography, so it's way easier to deal with it because you just have like a signature, some signed message, and a public key, and you can verify a signature. So actually, like in the process of dealing with Aadhaar day to day, so first of all, like the India stack is great. I analyzed a lot of digital identity stack, and what have been built in India is like, from a programmable cryptography point of view, it's like amazing to have like all this authentication endpoint and all this data that is authenticated through cryptography. So in the case of Aadhaar, when you're verifying your Aadhaar, you have to, and you want, let's say that you want to disclose like your age, for example, you have to disclose the whole message that was signed, basically the concatenation of all your identity data. So that's how we can verify a signature. But if you apply zk-SNARK to a signature verification, then you can have the notion of private inputs, and then you can hide the message that is signed, and you can even hide the signature, and only revealing the public key. And I can give you a proof that I have like some data that was signed by the public key, and you can cross-check on the UIDAI website, check that this public key is like the right one. Yes, so basically that's what we are doing. Why we are doing that, like with the link with blockchain, is because like if you think of like you have another identity and you want to do some use cases, and I don't know, you want to vote for some local decision, or you want to vote like for a more global decision, and it's like one human, one vote, and you want to prove your identity. Basically, if you want to do that right now in blockchain, it would be pretty bad, because blockchain are immutables, and like you will like dox yourself and like have all of your identity data on chain. So actually, zk-SNARK apply to identities, like for now, to me, like the best way to bridge your identity. Not only like identity data, by the way, there are like great teams like such as ZK Email doing the same, applied to email, Open Passport doing it like with signed passport. Yes, so I do think that zk-SNARK will enable like more and more bridging real-world data to the chain.
Yep. So one simple question, like I know how slow Indian government and Indian people are as well. So is it like really difficult when you guys started with a non-Aadhaar? So I hope like Indian government took a long period of time to approve it, because just to mention, I'm not really sure if you know about this. So in India, Aadhaar card is a thing where if you have the credentials, you have his phone number hacked or maybe with you, so you can drain his bank account, you can vote along his side, you can do everything by his identity. So is it like really easy to do all this thing, and don't you think like it can be a riskier thing as well, because it's 1.3 billion people who is sitting on the Aadhaar side?
Yes, so good question. Again, I'm going to join you on that. So actually that's the beauty of cryptography, is that it's permissionless. Like we don't work with the UIDAI agency. We don't need anything from their end apart of the data that is signed. So if you open your phone and you go to the Aadhaar app and generate a QR code, like me, I can scan this QR code without having like any access to any API. I'm just going to the official website, getting the public key, and I can verify your Aadhaar data. I don't need like any permission. I don't need like, it's not something that is closed. You don't need to have like API tokens or something like that. So yes, so in the case of Aadhaar, building it was, we had like iterations. The first version was relying on the PDF itself, but it was like too heavy for snarks. So now we are relying on what the UIDAI called the Secure Aadhaar QR code, which is basically like way more smaller and like more efficient to do like ZK. And also on top of that, we were able now to do selective disclosure. So meaning that you can generate a ZK proof from your signed Aadhaar data. You can generate a proof that you're more than 18. You can reveal your gender, your state, and your PIN code. Yes.
Got it. Okay, so like we already discussed a lot of things about ZK. So let's kind of debate now. So as I'm the only one on the stage who is using OP Stack, and you guys all are from the ZK side. So my major point, like when we come to scalability, OP Stack is more better, which I think right now. The only issue with OP Stack is 7 days withdrawal period, and there is not an official fraud proof which is arranged right now. So do you think like you still have an option, like OP Stack has an option to become more bigger than ZK technology right now?
It's a good question. I've seen some OP Stack rollups are trying to use like a risk zero succinct way to prove. Yeah, this is like two different paradigms. I'm not sure that whether one will win over the other one. I cannot guess. It depends on the
You're
market.
being diplomatic. You should be.
Yeah, if you have the answer, please take it.
Yeah, yeah, it's open. Like any one of you
It's
can
open
jump
question.
between and like just go ahead.
Yeah, to be really honest, I wish I had a hot take on this, but I, maybe Citrea's project is a little different from Anon Aadhaar and Reclaim in the perspective that um, we do not use ZK for scalability, right? Like when you talk about ZK rollups, you're usually talking about ZK in the context of scalability, and though we use the same technology as ZK rollup, that is ZK snarks. We do not use it almost for the scalability perspective. Like it's a very different use case, more around the privacy and interoperability. So uh, for me personally, I think I'm just a beneficiary of the debate that's happening, and both the technologies are just getting better in tandem, and that's great for me. So I would probably just cheer for the debate to never end, so that both of the products just keep getting better. So from the outside, that's my stance.
I'll add a couple of things. Thank you. So right now, OP stacks are much cheaper and well adopted by the community. ZK is a bit slower, it's expensive, but I believe by the time there is a new development on both hardware level and software level, it will become cheaper later on. And it's an end game. Everything will be based on ZK. That is where we are heading toward. But I don't think it will happen soon. It will take time. But once that it happens, yes, there is no fraud proof on optimistic rollups. I think that's an issue. The security is not a problem until that you have that problem, right? So I'm on the camp of ZK and cryptography part. That is where we will head toward at the end of the game.
Any thoughts from your side?
No, same. Like I guess from our point of view, we just want like cheap on-chain verification and scalability with the best trust assumption. So yeah, I don't have any strong stance.
Got it. So, like, if any one of you have a question, so you can just let me know because we have some time right now, like 2 minutes. I can just give it. Oh yeah, I'll just come.
So first of all, very good morning to one and all. Thank you to all the speakers. It was really innovating. But I want to know that as quantum computers are coming on, so how ZK will work on that? ZK Stark or ZK Snark? Which technology will evolve more with the quantum computers as a part of security and scalability both?
Yes, so that's a very good question. Plus, I think like the NIST published recently like a roadmap about like how to move the whole cryptography stack to post-quantum secure before 2035. I think in the ZK world we are like we have two things. First of all, like is that if there are like new signature algorithms, then we need to build new circuits to adapt to them. And the second thing is that not all the ZK proving scheme right now are like post-quantum resistant. For example, in the case of Aadhaar, we are using Groth 16, which is pairing based, and so basically it will, if we have the quantum computers, like it will break. So yes, again, don't have a strong stance about like quantum computers. Will it happen? Will it not happen? Nobody knows. But yes, like if we want to be defensive and defensive enough, I guess that we need to be prepared. And it's just trade-offs. Like, is it how is the cost to be like post-quantum resistant? Do we have like the schemes right now that are ready? And if they are ready and it's like cheap, yes, for sure. Like we should adopt them. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to echo one more quick point. So right now, the ZK proofs that most of us are using is Groth 16, and definitely it's not quantum secure. But I think we are still like 1 or 2 stages before we can come and fix the ZK proof. We're still like debating on quantum resistant hashing, quantum resistant signatures, which is very, very primitive in comparison to ZK proofs. So yeah, like if quantum computers start to exist tomorrow, yeah, like all the 3 projects are pretty doomed. So.
Got it. Any other question?
Am I audible? Yeah. So I have a question around the auditing landscape of the circuits. Let's say we create a new circuit for a use case. As of right now, we have a good standardized auditing landscape for Solidity, smart contracts, and everything. But in the case of circuits, circuits or anything, what is the landscape? Do we have any standardized vendors for it, or how is it progressing?
I could take a step again. Of course, auditing is super, super important. Again, very, very new field. Like right now, the three standards that have seemed to emerge are, CIRCOM, GNARC, and NOIR. So these are the three popular programming languages in DSLs in which people are writing circuits. And I think it's very, very evolving. Like the underlying DSL itself is evolving. And of course, the auditing folks who are like super, super smart are working on it. So I don't think there is it's as mature as the Solidity auditing for sure. But there are like a lot of smart folks who are working on this. I don't know if you guys have anything to.
No, I think of course it's as you said it's quite new, but the beauty of it is that we are for now an open ecosystem. You have a bunch of open source code and have that is already audited. ZKMail, for example, did the job about having 1-2 solid audits and publishing the code. So I don't know, if you want to verify, for example, a SHA-256 RSA signature, you have a performant audited implementation in CIRCOM of it. So I guess that all these teams that are building real-world use cases and doing the job of auditing their own code will facilitate first the job of the builders and secondly the jobs of the auditors. Yeah.
Awesome. So I think so that's it. So we are up the time now. Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists and people who are sitting here and asking the questions. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, I have one closing remark. Maybe I'll take 5 seconds. Is one thing that I really want builders over here to take away is ZK is probably the place that Solidity was in 4 or 5 years back. So if you're new to this space, ZK is definitely something to pay attention to as a builder. So yeah.
Can I? So we recently released our developer incubating program. We call it Citrea Origins. So I'm bullish on Indian developers, builders, and bullish on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin L2 is bringing new paradigm, and it unlocks a lot of potential. So it's a new market, emerging market. There is an opportunity if you are an early builder, you grow up with the ecosystem as well. So I hope to see prominent teams coming out of India that will be a big player in the global scheme. So if you are into a Bitcoin programming, please come and find us, talk to us.
I think so he's hiring, guys, so you can reach out to him.